Hey guys, welcome back to another sports stuff video. Today, we're going to be talking about my 2024 to 2025 rookies that I think could bust this season. Pause. That's crazy to say out loud. That's crazy to say out loud. Guys that I think are going to have disappointing rookie years. I'm going to phrase it like that. But if you guys do enjoy, please have a like, comment, subscribe. Hit notification bell to be notified when I post next. Let's get into this video. Oh, there we go. So, that is crazy. I'm reading it out loud. Top rookies to bust this season. I meant like boomer bust. Oh my god, that sounds crazy. Top rookies to disappoint this season. So on offense, I'm gonna go with QB Drake May. So obviously earlier this week I did guys I think could boom this year. These guys I think could bust this year. Crazy. Quarterback Drake May from the New England Patriots. Going into the preseason and training camp, I would not have had Drake May right here. I would have had someone maybe like Bo Nix. But Bo Nix has been lighting up preseason. Got named the day one starter earlier this week. Drake May is still not the day one starter. He is the only rookie quarterback to not be named starter yet. He hasn't beaten out Brissett yet in camp or in preseason. All rumors are saying that Jacoby Brissett will be the starter this year. Pre-draft, he was sort of as the plug and play number 2 option behind Caleb Williams, and Jaden Daniels was a project. But it looks like it might be the opposite because Jaden Daniels is already named the starter. Drake May, yet again, I guess I was wrong. I thought Drake May would have been the starter day one, but Jaden Daniels ended up being the starter day one. Alex Van Pelt did have success with Jacoby Brissett in Cleveland. Maybe that's why they're leaning towards Brissett because he already knows the offense. I just want to make sure it's known that bad, inconsistent rookie play does not end your career. So I do think Drake May will start some games this year for sure. The Patriots are not a great team. If they end up going 0-4 or 1-6, they're going to bench Jacoby Brissett, bring in Drake May as a starter, and let him play out the rest of the year. So he will see playing time this year, but I just don't think he's going to start day one, week one. And that's a problem when you're the number 3 overall pick and you're viewed as a plug and play guy who can start week one. You're sitting behind Jacoby Brissett, who's not a bad quarterback, but in my opinion, I do think he was thought of as the guy that would come in and there's no competition, and ends up he's the one that has the most competition because Bo Nix is starting, Jaden Daniels is starting, Caleb Williams is starting, Michael Penix is obviously sitting behind Kirk Cousins as a project pick. So it's really interesting to see that Drake May, who again we thought of as the number 2 option behind Caleb Williams to start week one, is not going to be the starter. It looks like all the rumors are saying he's not going to be the starter. I wouldn't have thought that. So he is my guy. I think is going to underperform this year for his draft value. At running back, I think it's going to be Marshawn Lloyd, the running back from the Packers. Won't get much run this year unless it's injuries. You got both Josh Jacobs and AJ Dillon in front of him. And again, at the draft, he was thought of as the AJ Dillon replacement. But then they re-signed AJ Dillon. Now, yes, AJ Dillon was signed before the draft happened, so they didn't know Marshawn Lloyd was going to be available. But if you knew that we wanted to replace AJ Dillon, why would you re-sign AJ Dillon? You know what I mean? Josh Jacobs gave you the number 1 running back for at least 2 to 3 years. He spent a 3rd round pick on Marshawn Lloyd. He wasn't really that highly rated on my board. I had him more as a 4th or 5th round pick. Got him in the 3rd, a little early for me. Guys that did go after him that I had higher: Jalen Wright, Bucky Irving, Will Shipley, Braylon Allen, and Kamani Vittle. Yeah, again, I don't hate Marshawn Lloyd. I'm making sure it's known. Guys on this list I don't hate. I just think they're going to be underperforming for their draft value. Marshawn Lloyd, guys that in my opinion were better than him went after him. He went to a team where he's running back number 3. The guy who has his skill set as that physical running back is AJ Dillon, is ahead of him and on a 1-year deal, to be fair. So Marshawn Lloyd should start next year. But again, this is guys that rookies are going to underperform this year. That's what this video is about. Next year he'd be amazing, but his rookie year he's going to underperform. He's going to disappoint. I didn't feel bad for Marshawn Lloyd. I thought he could have been a solid running back, and the Packers were a great team to take that shot on him to be the AJ Dillon replacement. But then you have AJ Dillon still. It's a little weird. Next up at wide receiver, we do have Ricky Pearsall, the San Francisco 49ers wide receiver. Things sound like Brandon Ayuk is going to be signing an extension with the 49ers, but that doesn't really change my opinion on him because I always saw Ricky Pearsall as a Deebo Samuel replacement, but they've recommitted multiple times this offseason to keeping Deebo Samuel. Last year they signed to an extension, and this year he's not been included in any trade talks. I think Ricky Pearsall is more that possession receiver who's a gadget guy. So Brandon Ayuk being extended doesn't change anything in my opinion for Ricky Pearsall. And I don't see him beating out Juwan Jennings for wide receiver 3. He was definitely their best player on offense that Super Bowl game. he would have won Super Bowl MVP in my opinion, or he should have at least won Super Bowl MVP if they did win that game. He threw a touchdown and he caught a touchdown. I just think that, Juwan Jennings made the chains move. So I don't see him beating out Juwan Jennings. So he's wide receiver 4 as a first round pick. He's going to get spot minutes. They're going to be inconsistent, though. He's not going to really get momentum going. I think there's a 90% chance that he has the least yards, touchdowns, and touches of all the first round rookies. You got Xavier Legette, I do think is going to start. Yes, you got Marvin Harrison. You got Malik Neighbors. You got all these different guys in the first round. And I think Ricky Pearsall is going to be the one that's going to have the least amount of yards, touches, and touchdowns. I think there's better options at wide receiver. Adonai Mitchell, I think, is a better, Brandon Ayuk replacement, because at the time, Brandon Ayuk was sitting out, and he was saying he wants to trade back in March. In April, I think Adonai Mitchell would have been a Brandon Ayuk replacement, and you could have traded Brandon Ayuk for anything and just get anything back. But now you've been in this battle for the last few weeks of, I'm going to sit out, I'm not playing, or I'm going to trade you. So I think Ricky Pearsall, again, I think he was more of a Debo replacement, but they've recommitted to Debo. I don't see him beating out Juwan Jennings, and if they do sign Brandon Ayuk to an extension, the only thing that really changes is Ricky Pearsall's touches, but I don't think the role on the team is what Brandon Ayuk does. So Ricky Pearsall is my guy who thinks he's an underperform year 1. At tight end, I have Tip Ryman, the Arizona Cardinals tight end that they drafted. He was not in my top 5 tight ends in the pre-draft, and he was the 3rd tight end taken in the 3rd round. I saw a lot of boards having him as a fringe 3rd rounder, more of a day 3 prospect. Goes in day 2. He's a run blocking specialist with okay receiving ability. All blocking tight ends, they can catch the ball a little bit, and that's what Tip Ryman does fall into, is where he's a little bit of a receiver. It's per his scouts. Ryman's career will be defined by how he blocks. That's tough. You know what I mean? And now there are guys in the league that make careers off being blocking tight ends. Josh Oliver comes to mind. Isaiah Likely, for the longest time until this past season, was just a blocking tight end. There are guys who make money and make careers out of being blocking tight ends. So it's nothing against Tip Ryman. But in today's NFL, where it's more pass heavy, I'm going to be very interested to see what Tip Ryman's career goes. And again, to be fair, the Cardinals do have Trey McBride to be the receiving tight end, and Tip Ryman can be the blocking tight end. But he's tight end number 3. They have someone named Elijah Higgins as their tight end number 2. And if I remember correctly, Elijah's more of a receiving tight end. So they're going to be playing a lot of 12 personnel with Elijah Higgins and Trey McBride. You're not gonna play a whole lot of 13 outside of, maybe in the end zone, in the red zone, because this is gonna be a pass heavy offense with Kyler Murray. So I just don't see what Tip Ryman's gonna start. I don't see what Tip Ryman's gonna be in that 12 personnel set. So I'm gonna go Tip Ryman as my guy who's gonna underperform at the tight end position. Offensive tackle, my guy's gonna be Patrick Paul for the Miami Dolphins. He's more projected as a more project than starter day 1. Now he did go to the Miami Dolphins, who have Teron Armstead, so he's a sit behind Teron Armstead. But we've seen Armstead miss a lot of games over the last couple of years in a season. So Patrick Paul is going to play this year. And I just don't think he's ready. He does have a very nice size body. He's 6'7", 39-inch arms, I think it was. He's not the best run blocker in the world. And for a team who dominated on the ground, whether it was Devon Achane, Raheem Mostert, no matter who it was, Jeff Wilson, they dominated on the ground. And Patrick Paul is not a great run blocker. He's a good pass blocker, but run blocking is not a specialty. So he's more than likely going to sit year 1 behind Teron Armstead. So already a top 5 tackle taken in the class is not going to play year 1. But if he does play, it's going to be rough, because I don't think he's ready to play year 1. I just don't think he's ready. He wasn't taken in the first, so if he does flop year 1 or year 2, it's not going to be remembered as a whiff. Like imagine if Joe Alt is just horrible this year. It's going to be a whiff after 1 year. Patrick Paul was a 2nd or 3rd round pick. I think he was the number 5 tackle taken in the class. So there will still be some expectations, but not like he was a top 5 pick overall. So Patrick Paul, again, is my tackle that I think could underperform year 1. Next, we have Isaiah Adams, the guard from Arizona Cardinals. I'm sorry, Cardinals, there's a lot of your players on here. I apologize. This is a couple of guys I think are going to underperform for the draft. I think they overdrafted a lot of guys. What the heck, man? In line to start day 1, but they were just way better players that were right there. A guy that I definitely remember was Christian Haynes was still available, and they drafted Isaiah Adams over Christian Haynes. I would not have done that. He needs time to develop, but their O-line is so rough and so thin. He's more than likely going to start games in year 1, and he's not ready in the NFL. He gets moved around by more physical rushers, and guess what? The NFL is more physical than college, more power rushers at the D-tackle position than in college. I just don't see a world where Isaiah Adams succeeds year 1 immediately. He's going to be a net negative in the run game as well day 1. His specialty is pass blocking, but he gets upended by physical, dominant pass rushers. And the NFL is full of that. So I'm a little worried about the Arizona Cardinals. He could be the weak link that gets, targeted in passing schemes. And in the run game, he's just a net negative. You know what I mean? Like he's not a -10, but he can be a -1, -2. And when he's your starting guard, that's not great. So Isaiah Adams is, I think, going to be my underperforming guard in this class. Next, at center, we have none. I think the center class went about how I thought, and it was great value in every single round. Guys went around later than I thought they should have. I don't think there was anyone that was overdrafted that will underperform. I really like this center class and how they drafted this year. So no centers, I think, will be underperforming. On defense, D-tackle is going to be Mike Hall for the Cleveland Browns. Get this dude off my team. Like, I'm sorry. He allegedly he beat his partner. She did recant some of the story where he did not hold a gun to her head, so we're going to say that he didn't do it. But she did not recant him throwing stuff at her and dragging her out to the driveway by her hair. Listen, Mike, get off my team. Don't care about how you play. Get him out the league. He's going to underperform. I don't want him on my team. I hope the Browns don't play him. I have a feeling that they will. I don't want to talk about the on-field production. Off the field, I don't want him on the Browns. So on the field, I don't care. I'm going to skip past over him. Edge, I do have Marshawn Nealon from the Dallas Cowboys. Wasn't the biggest fan of him coming out of Western Michigan. Newsflash, I do work in Michigan, and a lot of people I go to work with watch Western. I have a lot of people I know on my Snapchat and all that, my Twitter, that attended Western. So Marshawn Nealon I knew of. Wasn't the biggest fan of him. He is an athlete in the athlete mold that Micah Parsons was coming out of college, to a lesser extent, obviously. So I am excited to see what they could do with him. They do a lot with Micah Parsons, so maybe Marshawn Nealon and Micah Parsons could swap off who's a stand-up linebacker, who's a pass rusher, and cause a lot of confusion for defenses. But I do to see him as a backup rotational player. And when you get that guy in the second round, a backup rotational player, when you're the Dallas Cowboys with a lot of needs, because they let a lot of guys walk in free agency, they didn't re-sign anyone, they didn't sign anyone new. So you spent a premier pick on, in my opinion, a rotational player when he had a lot of needs on the team. I just think he's going to underperform. I don't think he's going to be a Micah Parsons impact day one, and they could use that kind of impact for this defense. Next, at linebacker, I have Trevin Wallace from the Carolina Panthers. If you guys did watch my NFL draft live stream, I didn't even have a rating on Trevin Wallace. They spent a premier third rounder on a special teamer. I don't see him as a starter. I see him as a below average backup to a special teamer. He is very athletic, don't get me wrong, so I do see him on an NFL roster. He had a 4.5 40-yard dash, 38-inch vertical, 10'7" broad jump. So he's very athletic. If molded correctly, he can be a backup with promise. I just don't see that for at least another 2 to 3 years. He's too raw on the field. Spending a premier pick on a linebacker that year one is more than likely going to be a special teamer. Year two be a backup, and year three might actually start some games. That is a tough pill to swallow. 1, 2, and 3 round, the first 3 rounds are guys that can start for you immediately or provide a lot of value immediately. 4, 5, 6, and 7, those rounds, that's where you grab a Trevin Wallace with a lot of upside. And the Carolina Panthers, not a lot of success developing talent. Look at their secondary the last 4 years. I just don't know if they're going to be able to develop Trevin Wallace. I'm going to say, sorry, guys. I don't think it was a great pick. Then Elijah Jones. Cornerback Elijah Jones to the Arizona Cardinals. This is nothing against Elijah Jones. I don't dislike Jones or the pick for the Cardinals. It's just that Arizona has spent 7 draft picks on cornerback alone in the last 2 drafts. Whether it was drafting, which was 6 of them, or trading for Sean Murphy-Bunting with another draft pick, that's 7 draft picks on cornerback. A very loaded position for this team. Very young, very athletic, very different, players in the positions. So he's not going to get much playing time year 1 or 2. But I like Elijah Jones. I liked him coming out of the draft. I can see a world where he has a breakout game and he wins a starting job because of that game. He can be a microwave defender where he's locked down for a week and then just you never hear from him again for the rest of the year because he's not the starter. But I think if he can get that microwave opportunity, he'll show out and kind of win the starting job over Sean Murphy-Bunting. But Elijah Jones right now is the backup to Sean Murphy-Bunting. Interesting, I like Sterling Thomas. I like Keichel Clark. I like Michael Ojemudia from how they got him. There's a lot of guys that were, on the second and third string cornerback that I liked. Elijah Jones and Max Melton in the same rounds, same position, I thought was a little questionable. But I do like the pick. It's a very loaded position. I think he's going to underperform because it was such a loaded position on the team that he's not starting. Then at safety, I do have Cole Bishop for the Buffalo Bills. He'll more likely start day one, so he could prove me wrong. But Cole Bishop, he can't play deep safety. He has no long speed, and he's over anxious at the point of attack. I can see him as a box safety hybrid role, as a hybrid linebacker. And in this defense, they run a 4-2-5 with new defensive coordinator. I can't remember his name. He coached their secondary last year. So I can see a world where Cole's asked to come in and play linebacker. So it's more of a traditional 4-3. Or if they want to play a really light 4-2-5, move Cole in next to Matt Milano or Terrell Bernard, and then have another corner out there. I could see that happening as well. But again, I don't think it's a horrible pick. I just think safety wasn't the pick that they needed to go with. And if they're going to go safety, a lot of guys are still available, right? Tyke Smith is still available, Malik Mustafa. A lot of different guys are available at this point. And I thought Cole Bishop was a lesser version of those kind of guys. But again, if they could see them play him as box linebacker, safety hybrid, and if they want to get really light on a formation and you bring in another corner, you take out Matt Milano or Terrell Bernard, you put Cole Bishop a linebacker, I can get along with that. I think that'd be a really good position for him. But yeah, that's my video. All my guys I think are gonna underperform this year. Not that they're gonna be bad, it's just they're gonna underperform for where they were drafted. At quarterback is Drake May, running back is Marshawn Lloyd, wide receiver is Ricky Pearsall, tight end is Tip Ryman, tackle is Patrick Paul, guard is Isaiah Adams, no centers because I think they're all drafted really well and really good value. D tackle Mike Hall, edge Marshawn Nealand, linebacker Trevin Wallace, cornerback Elijah Jones, and safety Cole Bishop. If you guys have any questions about why I chose those guys, I want to choose guys that are either in the first round, second round, or third round. Those are the premier positions where first round is your blue chip starter, second round is your high end backup, low end starter, third round is high end backup to high end rotation player. And 4, 5, 6, and 7 is question marks who could play, but it's mostly on like boom potential. I think a lot of these guys are more that third, fourth round, but a lot of them went in the second, and guys who were in the third or fourth round went to teams that I don't think I'd be able to develop them. But again, it's only year one and not their entire career. So if you guys did enjoy it, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified when I post next. There'll be another video probably, I don't know, in 2 or 3 days, recapping my fantasy drafts and kind of, taking you along a journey about my thought process of why I drafted certain guys, just kind of going with it. So if you guys are excited, let me know in the comments. Hit the notification bell. Hit the notification bell. Be notified when I post next. I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye.